out because it's a Chinese-owned company. And because they're saying that China's scooping up all the data, guess what? He goes, that's exactly what these other companies are doing too.
Yeah.
They're all scooping up your data.
Yeah.
The idea that your data is going to China is a problem.
What does that mean it goes to China?
It's because China represents competition, and they developed an app that's the most addictive app ever.
Sure.
That's just Adam
but also
Curry's
selling
Is
the
it Adam
information.
Curry, MTV original VJ?
Yeah, that guy's
he's
the
like
shit.
a huge tech guy. Yeah,
Do you know
yeah.
he's the fucking original podcaster? He's
Really?
the pod father. He's number one.
It's why, yeah. He's a couple things he was like ground level on.
Well, he's super like deep in on the internet, man. Like,
And so, yeah, it seems the same. It seems it's just an app that they're making money off ads.
But I will say, I've never seen before, because Christine, my girlfriend, is like,
she's on it nonstop.
and I really like. No, she stops herself now, but the fact that you're in a position where you have to stop yourself and like. She can't wait for me to go to the bathroom, or whatever, so she could just start seeing more of them. And I'm genuinely afraid to try, but I almost like the same way I want to try crack once, like see what all the hubbub's about. I want to go on and be like, is it good? I'm not into watching bite-sized videos over and over. It's not my thing.
But the thing is,
yeah.
what it does is it finds what you're into. And one of the ways I know that is my 12-year-old and my 14-year-old have fucking completely different feeds.
Whoa.
They talk about it. Like my 12-year-old is into like weird facts and strange things. All kinds of stuff that the 14-year-old's not into. The 14-year-old's into like dress-up videos. It's like people are into different shit, and that's what it'll find your thing. It's like really good at that. But it's also like super invasive. But then the question is, how much do we know other than what we found out from Twitter? How much do we know about like what these other companies are doing? Like when you just sign up for someone's app, and then like how about when you're talking about something and then you see a Google ad for it? Like what happened there?
Yeah,
we
all know by now.
What the
Well,
fuck
you know
is going
funny?
on? But
you can turn that off. You can turn that. That's actually a function. If you go into like Facebook on your phone, you can all of them. You put turn microphone off. It's an option, so it doesn't do that. If you turn the microphone off, though, the app doesn't do almost anything.
It's just annoying.
It makes you almost keep it on. That's the only reason I have it on. But
it hobbles it.
Yeah,
it hobbles
That's
it so
too
it can
far.
listen to you constantly.
That's too far. Following shopping habits or something, it's like maybe that's way too far.
What about like an Alexa helps you solve a crime because it like was recording or something?
I hate
If
that.
we didn't know, if like this whole thing with Edward Snowden didn't come down, we would, and that was a long time ago. If you really stop and think about it, we would have no fucking idea that there was a government full-scale surveillance program that was on the American people, like on everybody.
Yeah.
Like they could spy on anybody. They don't have to have warrants anymore. They can do whatever they want. They can get all your emails, all your voicemails. Like that is wild shit. And we found out about it because a guy told everybody and then had to hide in Russia.
Damn, it's
Clear
crazy.
AI scrapped 30 billion images from Facebook and other social media sites and gave them to cops. Oh my God.
Yeah,
Puts
the
them into a
background stuff.
perpetual police lineup.
Oh, so no more of
So
that. They're not in the
AI
system. They're not in the system.
Look at that. 30 billion images from Facebook and social media sites and
What?
gave them to police. So now they have your name and your face. So if you have a fake ID, if you get pulled over, they know exactly who you are. And they can run that through some fucking computer that has a database
Of
of
everything
all
ever.
your
Big thing
social
when-
media, everything you've ever done.
That's so much deeper than DNA evidence because they would say that if someone didn't have their DNA in like the
Yeah.
you couldn't find something. It was their first time like crime, and they weren't now.
You could be like, did you buy a shovel recently?
You're
Jamie,
in,
what is
you're in
the
the
law?
system if you have a phone.
Yeah.
What is this TikTok law? Because people are freaking out about it, and people are telling me that I have to look into it.
Confusion is calling it the TikTok law to begin
The
with.
Restrict
That's
Act
yeah,
is what it's
TikTok is not listed in there at all.
Right, I'm
But
sorry.
what is-
but it's, that's like don't say gay bill.
Sure.
Never really says don't say gay in any of it.
Yeah, that was a misleading one.
Yeah, it's very misleading.
But that's also kind of how it's being sold to people as like, this is what's going to stop the bad TikTok stuff.
Right.
But it's like, hey, TikTok is not mentioned in here, so maybe
Right.
it won't do that at all.
So what does it say?
So this is what, instead of like just going after TikTok, they're making this sweeping act. The Restrict Act is described as a systematic framework for addressing technology-based threats to the security and safety of Americans. That sounds ominous. It grants the Secretary of Commerce the authority to review transactions by certain foreign entities who offer information and communications technologies, products, and services in order to identify, investigate, and mitigate undue and unacceptable risks to the national security of the United States or its citizens. This includes, but not limited to, impact the country's critical infrastructure and digital economy, sabotage or subversion of ICTS in the United States. Boy, that could be interpreted a lot of ways. Interference and manipulation of federal elections, which could mean you're just skeptical or you're gullible and you bought into some conspiracy theories and you're talking about them. And instead of just being able to just talk like a nonsense person, you get jacked.
So it's kind of like, it's like subverting the press.
Undermining the democratic process to steer policy and regulatory decisions in favor of the strategic objectives of a foreign adversary to the detriment of the national security of the United States. Like, man, this is all so open to interpretation. Like, think of those things. Impact the country's critical infrastructure and digital economy. That's easy to do. You can impact it. What if you impacted it in a positive way? What are you saying? Impact it. The digital economy. Like, how do they? What have you done? Do you promote a certain coin and it blows up? Then you just impacted.
What if you like
stop
using eBay?
Yeah, I mean, if someone like think about like these Bitcoin guys, like if Elon posts a Dogecoin image, immediately Dogecoin goes up, right? Yeah. Doesn't that impact the digital economy? What does that mean?
Yeah,
I don't know.
So what if he says the crypto is bullshit because he believes it? Well, doesn't that impact the digital economy?
Yeah, they could arrest him.
And are they talking about the digital economy that exists now, or are they talking about a centralized digital currency, which is what China does?
Is that what they're saying?
What they want to do?
Are they saying that Elon Musk will be illegal for him to?
I don't know what they're
Dogecoin?
saying. The problem is the way that's. I mean, obviously, I'm not a lawyer, but the way that's written. Scroll back down so I could read that. The way that's written.
Yeah.
Impact to the country's critical infrastructure and digital economy. And digital economy is included in there. Like, what does that mean?
I don't know. I've never made money digitally.
Yeah. I don't know.
But look at this. So this thing, information, communications, technologies, products, or services, right? So this is ICTS. Sabotage or subversion of ICTS in the United States.
What's ICTS again?
So it's information, communications, technologies, products, or services, all right?
Okay.
So in order to identify, investigate, and mitigate undue and unacceptable risk to the national security of the United States. So if you did something that's subversion.
So they're saying.
So imagine if you said, I think these people are full of shit, and I think, what they're trying to do is gain control of the United States, and I think we should resist that. That would fall into that.
And they're selling it as TikTok is doing this. TikTok is subverting our elections, or TikTok is subverting our economy. So
they're not even selling it that way. They're not even selling it that way.
These countries are the foreign adversaries that may do bad stuff.
So they're like, it's a risk that they're going to do something bad with this.
Yeah, like they've listed using a VPN as a way to subvert that, which would be
what?
illegal. And you get a gigantic fine, and maybe 20 years in prison.
To use a VPN here? Oh, how do you steal?
Imagine.
How do you steal?
They're going to criminalize that.
Imagine they're going to criminalize VPNs.
I'm always told to get a VPN.
Yeah, you should get a VPN.
Potentially criminalizing the use of a VPN service or sideloading to access services blocked from doing business in the United States under the Act, due to the text stating that no person may cause or aid, abet, counsel, command, induce, procure, permit, or approve of the doing of any act that violates the orders issued under the Act. What?
Oh, that's so confusing.
Bro, they're trying to gain more power. This is creepy. This is not good, and I just gotta hope that people wise up and don't pass this. Does it seem like this is something they're passing?
I don't know that it's gotten that far. I know it's been proposed.
You think there's an order to it where it's like, first we bill China as going after Hong Kong and Taiwan. Now we see them as the enemy. Now a business associated with them, we can get rid of that now.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
But I mean, the problem is like TikTok zombifies people. So like, if you take it away, they're gonna revolt.
Yeah, they want it.
I don't think you have to take it away. But I think that act has nothing to do with TikTok. If people have like legitimate concerns that people are abusing and overusing TikTok. That's a conversation people should have.
Sure.
But if this is not that.
It's not because of that.
This
it's not
is
because
something-
everyone's using it too
This
much.
is about what they're getting
doing
when you
with
use it.
Yeah.
All that stuff seems very vague to me. Obviously, I'm an idiot, but all that stuff seems very vague when they're reading out like what they can get you for.
Yeah.
And that last thing about acts that are listed as impermissible under the act or whatever the fuck the wording was, like, what the fuck is like you're covering all the bases. It seems like it's so open to interpretation. Now imagine if something like that existed during the pandemic.
Yeah.
In the beginning of the pandemic where people go, I don't know if these fucking masks work. You
Top ramen, holes in your clothes, like homeless. Like, I was like, that is what a real artist is. Until I met a successful artist. Until I was like, oh shit, like you can have a manager and an agent and an office and like you can like not starve. And I remember at that point, I was in my early 20s. I was like, man, people sure like talk about money a lot, right? Like it seems to be like this thing that causes a lot of problems in marriages and business. And I go, it doesn't seem that hard to me. And I'm saying this as a guy in my 20s that's poor. I'm like, what if I just like try to be as rich as possible for the next 10 years or 5 years? Like, what if that's my singular focus? And so I did it, and it was a lot of work, but like the video game of money is over for me now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like at every industry, gambling, the stock market, like even like people go, oh, that's like this Korean Forrest Gump, and he was like this homeless guy that like got lucky with Facebook. I'm like, that was like a lot of work to make that happen, And I was already kind of wealthy when I made that deal, but people like to tell that story. So I made millions of dollars gambling. I made millions of dollars with my art. I made millions of dollars with Facebook. And it was a lot of hard work, but I'm like, it's kind of, if I wanted to, you tell me how cringe I sound and I'll just stop. But I'm like, it's not going to be that hard for me to become a billionaire at a certain level, right? Like I've amassed hundreds of millions. I'm like, if that's my goal now, if that's my video game, and then I know billionaires. I mean, Sean, Parker, and Mark being the most, but I know tons of like secret billionaires, right? And I go, I don't want any of their lives. I don't want any like.
But it's just money. You don't have to have their life,
right?
To have money,
right?
And you don't have to think about money if you have it.
Right.
The problem with money is people become obsessed with it because it's so difficult to attain, and there's so much societal value put on being wealthy.
Right.
That it becomes the thing instead of a thing.
I mean, I have a friend that has like hundreds of billions of dollars and
hundreds of billions.
Hundreds of billions. Like one of the,
I have one too.
Yeah, and you know how weird those guys are, right?
They're weird guys.
and I'm pretty close with him. He's not just like and I said, we were having dinner and I was like, I'm feeling confident. I was like, give me one. He's like, what? I was like, give me one.
1 billion.
And he's like, I don't understand. Yeah, I was like, give me 1 billion. And he's like, I was like, motherfucker, I don't need it. Like, I'm not gonna go buy cars and houses. He's like, what do you want to do with that? He's like, Dave, I don't know if you know how money works. You don't just go up to someone and ask them for $1 billion. I go, motherfucker, I just did. And he's like, well, do you have a plan? Are you gonna show me charts and graphs? And I was like, no, it's all gonna be instinct. I will take that 1 billion. And he's like, dude, you gotta come to me with like, I'm not saying no, but you gotta have a better, you gotta have like, how you gonna? I go, I promise you, I will spend it like the most irresponsible possible. Like it'll be like exactly, because most of these people that have billions, they're like geniuses and they spend, everything is down to a fraction and they just grind and crunch numbers in their brain. And that's not how I think. I think very abstract, and I go, I'm gonna do stuff that on paper makes absolutely no sense. And I promise you I will change the planet with that money. Like I'm gonna do shit that, and then he was like, he didn't say no, but he was thinking it over and he's like, dude, there's no way like my money guys are gonna do this. And then I sat there and I thought about it because money is power. I was like, dude, I don't want $1 billion. I don't want that responsibility. And ultimately he was like, no. And I was like, thank you.
So it was just a wild thought.
Yeah.
Spontaneous.
Yeah. If he had given it to me, he would have He would have I would have been like those weird people. I was like, I don't want to touch that. I don't want to touch
You
that.
would have tried it out for a while.
Right.
You would have tried it out for a while, and then you would have gone back to being you.
Right. And then so that game of that video game of money has no it's not fun for me anymore, because I've so years ago, like 2009 was my last art show where I actually sold stuff for money, and I didn't feel good. It was like my galler Steve Lazaridis is like Banksy's guy, and he's like, Cho, like, you're on fire. Street art's on fire right now. Like, what do you want to do? I go, it's gonna be in LA. It has to be in LA. It has to be on Rodeo Drive. Like, it has to be on the most expensive street in the world. And I want like every celebrity there, and like, you know, and so it did. It happened. It was like, it was a show in Beverly Hills. All the celebrities came. All the fancy people came. I sold all the art. And the next day, I didn't feel any different. And then at that point, the artist gets objectified to like, just, I got a Basquiat, I got a Cho, I got a Banksy.
Right,
and I'm like,
right.
I'm like, the guy that's buying my art that can afford it, he doesn't care about the art. He just wants to, like, it's a dick contest, right? He just wants to show off, like, hey, I got a Cho. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's not what the universe wants for me to, like, just make expensive stuff. So at that point, I told my manager and everyone I work with, I'm like, everything now is free. Like, painting with kids, painting with guys just out of jail, painting with at-risk youth, murals, museum, anything where it's free, that's what I'm about. I'm not, you know, or if I like someone, I'll just trade or give it to them, but I'm not selling shit anymore. So that kind of like ended, like, you know, and then I had finance guys, and everything about wealth management is about how to preserve wealth and make more money. And I go, let's do like a Monte Carlo simulation and figure out when I'm going to die by my lifestyle of how I live. And let's get it down so that I have zero by the time I'm done. Like, I want to, and they're like, so every business decision I've made since I've made that decision is I just lose money. And then the video game of sex, which I wasn't very good at, is age 0 to 30. I'd been with 5, 6, maybe 7 girls, like, and they were all like long-term kind of relationships. There was no like one-night stands. And then at that point, like 29, 30, I was like, I'm really not good at this. Like, I don't got any game. I'm not, and like the same way, if you saw me in my 20s as like a street urchin, like street kid, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna be the richest artist in the world, you'd be like, you know what the odds of that happening are? Like, it's ridiculous. In that same way, and like, not to sound vulgar or you know, objectify women, but that's what I did at that age. I was young, and I was like, I'm tired of the Asians are like sexless, small dick, you know, the math nerd. Like, I want to fuck the most amount of women as possible. And that was even more ridiculous than me saying I want to be the richest artist. And then I just went on a tear for a decade, right? Like, it was awkward at first, and then like a video game at the end, a combination of like a comedian working out their material, right? And with the oncoming social media and all the, you know, internet stuff, I could figure out on the dates I've been on which material killed. Like, what did I say to make what girl laugh, and you know, and I would have all those, like a crazy person, like in my notes folders, and I could say the perfect combination of words to make a girl laugh, or like, so using everything at my disposal, anything like money, you know, fun, charm, like jokes, power, like I'll get you on this thing, or like just cueing in on what is it that you want, and I can get you that. And, you know, I was sleeping with multiple women a day, and I was like, this, like, you would never believe, okay, not you, I would never believe what I was doing. Like, I was every night, tens, like Victoria's Secret models, A-list celebrities, just like, I was like, whoa. And, you know, I got to a point where I was like, my friends and I debate, they're like, you were like a week away from sucking dick. And I was like, it's probably like more like 2 days away. Cause it just gets there, right? Like, I was just like in rooms, like having threesomes, group sex, and I was like, I'm an artist. I should, and my parents were convinced I was. Like, I was in a car going to an art show with my parents in Mexico City, and my mom, she's like completely invested in my career, and she's like, hey, Andy Warhol used to do like 10, 20 push-ups, and then his mom would give him like a Snicker bar. And I was like, that's an interesting fact, Mom. I didn't know that. And he was gay. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Leonardo da Vinci, when he used to go out, like no one would know he's an artist. He wouldn't have like a speck of paint on him. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that, Mom. And he was gay. And I was like, where's this going? And then my dad's in the front driving. He's like, he's not gay. I told you he's not gay. And my mom's like, we're Christian, and but we know that you're an artist, and we know you haven't brought a woman home in like 10 years. So just, it's okay. You could come out of the closet. And I was like, I love being gay so much. Like I'm not like, I almost wish I was, right? Like when I play like Dungeons and Dragons or a role-playing game or RPG, like video game, or anytime I act or do anything that's like online or like a game, I always want to be a gay guy. Like, I just love it. I love that feeling. I want to play gay guys but I just don't love dick. I want to. I want to love it, but I just...
Why do you want to?
I just like, part of it is like, my shame makes me shameless, and like I like it when it hurts kind of thing. Like, I got close where there was a transsexual woman. I think her name was Eva. Like, her penis was right here, and I was like, it's right there. I should just like at least lick it or touch it, at least just to say I tried it, and I could say I didn't like it or I did like it, but right. I just couldn't. I was like, I was so bored, not of just pussy or women or whatever. I just was bored of
the endeavor
of that, and then you meet people, and everyone has their game. Like, Hollywood people are like, I gotta get that Emmy or that Oscar, or and so I like pick the game I want to play, money, power, and then it's like I sit here, and the thing that I learned, the number one important lesson from gambling is get out while you're ahead, is like, I love how much money I have right now. Like, it's the perfect amount. I love that. Like, I have no regrets. Like, I've had sex with so many different women that like I don't need that anymore. I could be a monk for the rest of my life if I want to, like, and so there's only one final quest, and that's the spiritual quest, right? And that's where like people say shit like the answer is love, and it's like, it is, right? And like there will be shit. There's shit that we talked about before we start recording that we can't, and then there will be shit that we talk about later, and we live in this world now where it's like, it's a crazy world, right? And the answer is love, and everyone says it, and it's in movies and it's in books, but it's, what does that path look like? And so I go towards where I feel that, and I feel that in Africa. When I go to Africa, I feel that like in my soul, to my bones. And I look like this in Austin, and no one judges me. Like, you would think going to Africa, the places I go where there's no Asians, that they would say shit, but they don't. They just accept me. They call me brother. They take me in. They show me their lives, and they're like, you're just part of our tribe now. And I'm like, it makes me want to cry, So, and the fact that, I have this beautiful relationship with you, and, you let me talk about this stuff, and then those words get to, like, I don't know Logan Paul. That guy calls me up right after the show. He's like, take me to Africa, bro. Take me. I'm like, okay, like, and it's just a tremendous thing. And then, we made